My name is Nancy Lemus. I am the parent of 2 children. My youngest son has cerebral palsy and he has a movement disorder called Dystonia. At the age of 3, he had his first storm. He was gravely over-medicated, and it took us 6 months to wean him off of all the narcotics he was put on. And it took us a long time to wean him off because of the withdrawal that he would go through. So we went 6 months just tempering him off, which was a long time to do. Christopher lost a lot of his abilities that he had at that time. And then as the years progressed, when Christopher had a storm, a crisis, when he went into autonomic storming, which is just full spasms, we would just go to the doctor, up all his meds, and that's what we did till the age of 9. We went in October, but that regimen of medications only worked till December. By December, he was really sick. His doctor said to me, and I remember him pointing his finger at me and saying, I can't give him anything else because if I do, I'm going to collapse his lungs, his tongue, and his arms. He said, either you trach him or you're gonna sit there and you're gonna watch him die because he cannot breathe. At that time, Christopher was getting spasms right here and in his mouth. We went ahead and we trached him, but his quality of life was horrible. He gained a lot of weight. He couldn't do a lot of things. He couldn't wake up. He couldn't open his eyes. He didn't move much. The doctors would even ask me why was he gaining weight, and I was kind of like dumbfounded because he's gravely over-medicated. He doesn't move, he doesn't blink, he doesn't go to school, he's not doing anything. That's why he had gained a lot of weight. And we knew his quality of life was horrible, so I reached out to senators, representatives. I went to the Life Conference. For the first time, I had left Christopher after he got his trach, and I searched out people that could guide me to who could tell me how to get Christopher where he needed to be. And this has been a long journey, and there has been so many people involved in getting Christopher where he is now. And this started with Jacqueline, which I actually got to meet yesterday. I had seen her video about 2010, 2011, just telling her story about how she had cerebral palsy and how cannabis made a difference in her life. And that story stuck with me all these years. So when Christopher was in a crisis, I was constantly asking the doctors, how can we get cannabis for him? Can you guys send him to NIH? Can you send him to another state? But I need him to have access to cannabis. I think this is a lifeline for him. And they kept saying, we can't do it. We can't do anything. You have to do this. This is something you have to do. So when Christopher got his trach and I left him, I went to the Life Conference. By this time I had already spoken to Stacy Lynn from Colorado, and she is the mother of Jack, who already passed away but had very similar issues like Christopher did. And I reached out to her. She was very generous, genuine, and she told me how to approach my senators and my legislators. So that's what I did. But we were very lucky that by the time we reached our senators and the governor, Riley's law was being pioneered. So we were just very lucky that they had already pioneered and it was already in the making. So it gave Christopher an opportunity to have a chance. Because if we would have started from scratch, I don't know how long Christopher would have survived being on the amount of medications that he was on. So by Riley already pioneering that bill, it gave us an opportunity to fast track everything because it was already in place. With that said, we started Christopher on CBD on October of 2015. The change was immediate, and we were able to start weaning Christopher off of medications. One of the things that we did learn early on was that we had to be very careful because any cannabis-derived tinctures, oils will boost any medications that you take or interact, or the one thing that we were told was that it would boost anything that you're already taking. So with that said, Christopher has a new neurologist because his other neurologist, he retired, and the new neurologist said to us, he said, I don't understand, he said, why Christopher's doses are that of a baby. He said he's 85 pounds, he's over 5 feet. He said, I don't understand. And that's when I explained to him, I said, what we have learned through research and mostly through other parents and them sharing their experience and people that use cannabis, is that cannabis will boost anything else that you take. So to me, that was the biggest explanation. And I told him I needed him to make sure that that was part of my son's record, because we want to make sure that they're following his journey with cannabis and that it's in writing and it's within his hospital report, because we think that at some point this might be able to help somebody else. And as of now, Christopher is 13. He's not gravely over medicated. He's awake, he smiles, he interacts. Next month he's getting an eye gaze, which is a very advanced piece of equipment. It's assistive technology, so he will be using his eyes to communicate. And the second step to that is that he will have a power chair within hopefully less than 6 months. But our life before cannabis was very, very, it was very sad. And I honestly believe that right now I would be sitting here being the mother of one, because I think I would have lost my son. And cannabis has extended his life. He has quality of life, and he's doing things that we never thought he would get to do, which is he has a little bit of his independence back. He's awake, he's going to school. He's recovering from major surgery, and even his bounce back from his surgeries have been, I follow a lot of families when their kids are going through surgeries very similar to Christopher's, and I can tell you that I think Christopher's recovery, his spirit is just amazing, and I do think that that is because he has access to cannabis.